Picture a city built entirely of timber, where a flicker from a candle could trigger disaster. Now fast forward to a skyline of glass, steel, neon, and blinking signs. That city is Tokyo, and this is how it happened. Welcome to Rise of Cities. Today, we're telling the story of how Tokyo evolved from its wooden past into one of the most modern, high-rise urban centers on Earth. We'll trace the key phases. The old city of Edo, disaster and demolition, the push of modernization, and the skyscraper age. Let's dive into the 10 essential stages of this transformation. Before we go on, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for future updates. The beginnings of timber towns. Edo, which means inlet gate, was the name of Tokyo when it was a settlement near the mouth of the Sumida River and Tokyo Bay. The Tokugawa Ieyasu and his shogunate ruled the city from 1603 to 1868, and it flourished quickly. By the middle of the 18th century, it was one of the biggest cities in the world. Most buildings back then were composed of wood and paper, which was prevalent in Japanese construction at the time. This included homes, stores, and temples. The narrow streets, wooden multi-story dwellings, called machiya, and temples made it look like a city with a lot of history, skill, and a lot of risk of fire and earthquakes, destruction and disaster. Building with a lot of wood in a seismic zone is a recipe for disaster. Tokyo went through two big breaks that led to change. The Great Kanto earthquake in 1923 was the first major disaster to hit Tokyo and Yokohama. It killed tens of thousands of people and destroyed substantial parts of the city. Second, the city was badly bombarded during World War II, which destroyed even more of the historic buildings and left large areas to be rebuilt. Changing the name and bringing it up to date. The Meiji Restoration in 1868 changed Japan by eliminating feudal control and letting Western ideas into the country. At this time, Edo was officially proclaimed the seat of the emperor and given the name Tokyo, which means Eastern Capital. That was the start of constant modernization. Railroads, buildings in the style of the West, and new institutions. The first train in Japan traveled between Tokyo and Yokohama in 1872, for example. The goal was to catch up with the West, exhibit national might, and make the city a symbol of Japan's change. Concrete and steel go up. As the city became more contemporary, wood was no longer good enough for density, fire safety, or earthquake protection. After the disasters, the rules for constructing changed. There was a clear shift to concrete, brick, and steel after 1923. One important building is the Rionkaku, which was completed in Asakusa in 1890. It was Japan's first Western-style skyscraper, with 12 stories, and had the first electric elevator. It fell down in the 1923 earthquake, but its existence marked the beginning of tall building, technology in Tokyo. The skyline got taller over time. Steel and concrete became the standard. Rebuilding after the war. Tokyo was once again extensively damaged and occupied after World War II. The city's government was changed, and its rehabilitation became a symbol of Japan's recovery. Tokyo grew quickly in the 1950s and 1960s because of fast industrialization and economic growth, the Japanese economic miracle. The 1964 Olympics were a big deal because they marked Japan's return to the world scene and showed that Tokyo was a modern global city. This time period saw the emergence of modern building materials, big apartment and office complexes, and the end of low-rise wooden dwellings, neon lights, and a booming skyline. Tokyo's identity changed in the second half of the 20th century. It became known for its neon lights, dense clusters of high-rises, and worldwide business areas like Shinjuku and Marunouchi. The modern skyline came to stand for achievement and modernism. Tokyo attracted IT companies, financial centers, and businesses from around the world. Some people could say that the wooden city has mostly been left behind, although there are still pieces of it. The skyline shows how ambitious and energetic a city that changed itself is. Tradition lives on. The old city didn't completely disappear, even as Tokyo became more contemporary. Some neighborhoods, wooden cottages, and modest shrines lived on or were restored in a way that worked with modern buildings. The Edo Tokyo Museum, for example, shows what life was like in Edo and Tokyo from 1590 to 1964, keeping the memories of the old city alive. City that is propelled by new ideas. Tokyo's growth wasn't just about higher buildings. It was also about technology, resilience, and change. Because Japan is in an area that is prone to earthquakes, the buildings in Tokyo were built to withstand them. The city also became a hub for research, development, and innovative technologies for cities. For instance, Japan's modern education system, which started in 1900, helped train workers for changes in technology and industry. Things cities can learn. What Tokyo shows us? Cities don't just develop, they change, often because of disasters, ambition, cultural changes, and new technologies. The change from wood to neon is more than just a change in materials. It also entails changes in government, the economy, transportation, society, and identity. Tokyo's route presents both potential, modernization, infrastructure, and challenges. Keeping identity, resilience, and social equality for cities in developing countries. Remember the layers of history that are underneath Tokyo's buildings while you watch them shine. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into how amazingly Tokyo has changed. Please like, subscribe, and press the bell if you like this trip from wood to neon. That way, you won't miss our next city narrative. Next time, we'll look at another big city and find out what made it, what it is. Until then, keep going to new cities and asking how they got to be the way they are.